welcome back. We are, of course, the Bearded Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
This is yet another sports podcast with the Bearded Brothers, the Bearded Weirdos. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Was it ever a week. Since we've recorded, so much garbage has happened. So
I'm
many
still,
things.
like, I have to keep looking. I keep pulling up the news tracker for everything just to make sure that nothing changes while we're recording.
Oh my God, it's going to. We're going to start. I want to start with the first piece of non-NFL news, MLB news.
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody's been following this saga, but former Twins shortstop Carlos Correa had originally decided he was going to sign with a different. He backed out of the deal he had signed last year with the Twins. I think it was a 3-year deal or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he had an out clause every year. So he backed out. He used his clause, escaped out, wanted to go test the free agency market. He was going to sign with, I don't remember who, but he was going to sign with one team, I think the Giants, and then backed out of it and went to go sign with the Mets. And they had, the whole thing was set and done. And then he got mad or something over the wording in the contract language. And he backed out of that, and now he's re-signing with the Twins for like 6 years, $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw that today, and I was like, "That is a saga."
I heard about that. Yeah,
That's a saga.
That was a
and
big
it's
saga.
hilarious. And it's hilarious. I don't know why I find it funny. I just do. It's I committed to one team. Nah, I don't think so. I want to go over here where they're going to pay me a lot of money. Oh, I don't like how you worded things in my contract. I'm not going to sign that. I'm going to go over here now.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go back to the original team. What?
Right, like, yeah, you know, fuck you guys.
I'm waiting for him to back out of this too now. And just not have a team to play with.
Well, until something gets signed, yeah, he could do whatever the fuck he wants. So
exactly, it's goofy, it's weird. But that's one of the big pieces of non-NFL news. So that's our first major MLB piece that we've been talking about. I suppose
I got so much news here. You know, there's a lot to talk about, and there has been some news that has happened today. But I'm gonna go over just the firings that have happened, and people that have. I'm gonna go over firings, retirements, and stepping downs, because that's kind of the same thing. That's all. So I'm just gonna go over them all, and then we'll talk about what we think about it. So, very first one, the big one that happened. Head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury, was fired January 9th following a 4-13 season, and just one season after he signed a contract extension through 2027. They're paying him a shit ton of money to walk and do nothing.
And so I'm going to make you laugh. It's funny. I like making people laugh about this kind of thing real quick. I know we're going to try to get through them all, but there was a league memo that was circulated about all the money that's being spent on coaches that are not coaching for people right now.
Yeah.
And because teams were complaining about the revenue sharing and how much revenue there was available. And the league went, yeah, but look at where you're spending your money, you idiots. And the Arizona Cardinals went,
you're right, let's do it too.
You're right, we're going to do it again. What?
Yep.
What? I don't get it. Okay.
Next. Next up, obviously, I'm just going to go through the full list of the firings.
Just
so
some
people will, yeah. Okay, so next we obviously have, for the Carolina Panthers, head coach Matt Rule and defensive coordinator Phil Snow were fired. Rule was fired on October 10th, 5 weeks into his third year with the Panthers. And frankly, and then Snow was fired alongside Rule at the same time. So frankly, it makes sense. Matt Rule was obviously not the answer for the Panthers. It wasn't working. Frankly, the fact that they didn't fire him before the season started, I was a little shocked by that. And I'm not surprised it only took a couple games to be like, okay, time to go.
Well, I think they wanted to give him Baker to see if he would do better with Baker, and it totally didn't work.
It didn't work, no.
Yeah, no, it didn't work.
All right. Next up on the list, Cleveland Browns had fired their defensive coordinator Joe Woods on January 9th, one day after the conclusion of the regular seasons. It makes sense. That defense, with the talent it has, should have been a lot better than it was.
Oh, yeah. Because clearly the defense was the only problem.
Well, not the only problem, but it was definitely a problem. Hey, listen.
Shout out. You know what? Shout out to Ross for that that one.
Well, yeah, Tom Grossi. I love Tom Grossi. That guy's great.
Oh,
I love his
that
shit.
guy's hilarious.
Despite
being a fucking Packers fan.
I love his videos though. I still watch all of his stuff. Like his. Anyways, if you haven't watched his stuff, he does a lot of like story driven stuff, which is a lot of fun.
Oh my god, he's so hilarious.
Anyways, I know Joe Woods wasn't the only problem, but Kevin Stefanski as the head coach has done a lot of good there. So getting rid of that made no sense. He's been actually probably one of the better head coaches for the Browns in a while. So why would you give up on a potential golden goose? I know you have a lot to still deal with, and and all that, but he brought the Browns to a playoffs along with Baker. Like, you don't just drop that hot potato that quick. Even though they dropped Baker, but that's because they thought they were getting the Deshaun sweepstakes, and they did. But maybe it wasn't the $1 million lottery they were hoping for. But we'll see. We'll see what next season holds.
Tie back to the Deshaun sweepstakes. The Houston Texans, literally the day the season ended, January 8th,
head coach
Lovie Smith 1 year. So now it's interesting that was brought up because it's been stated that now they've had 2 minority coaches, each of them signed multi-year deals apparently. And each of them has been axed after their first season.
To be fair, both of them were known to be stopgaps. Everyone knew they were going to be stopgaps because they weren't like big names, and everyone knew they weren't going to be the next
I'm going to be honest with you. I think Lovey deserved another season. We all know that team was garbage, but the fact that he coached 3 wins out of that pile of trash you would call the Texans,
I think
he deserves all the praise in the world just for that.
Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think Lovey was a bad coach. I just think that they're looking at it from the standpoint of we need a big star coach, and that's what they're looking for. And if that's Sean Payton, they're going to go for it. They're not going to get him, but they're going to try. And they're going to try to
get Harbaugh. They're not going to get him. They're going to try to get him.
Yeah, and they're going to probably try to go after, like, I don't know, any of the other potential options. I mean, they're basically going to try to. They're going to try to pick anybody they can.
So what's funny to me is the conspiracy theory that Lovey already knew that he was going to get canned no matter what happened in that final game. So he purposely went out and won the game just to screw the Texans out of the first overall pick.
Which the thing is, like, even if that is true, it doesn't really matter. First, second pick.
No. It doesn't.
Because the Bears getting first pick, it doesn't matter.
Everybody's all hot and bothered about it, but I'm going to tell you a couple of secrets that I think everybody needs to hear. First off, players don't give up about your first overall pick.
They don't.
Coaches, they want to win just as badly as anybody else does because having a losing record doesn't look good for your overall coaching record.
Exactly, yeah.
GMs, on the other hand, will tell you that they're just trying to field the most competitive and balanced team they possibly can. But I'll tell you a secret about them. They're
liars.
Dirty fucking liars.
But to be fair, on that same example, even if that was true, if it was with some other teams, maybe that might be a concern. But the Bears, listen, the Bears first overall, they're not picking QB. They're not.
No, but I had
they might trade out and to somebody who might want one.
That's what I was thinking.
But even then, like, there's so many good QBs.
Real quick, before we go over the other firings, my theory on that is they're going to trade it to the Colts. The Colts are going to grab Bryce Young, and then you still have C.J. Stroud. So I don't think it matters.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if they do, there's so many good QBs in this draft that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's at least five QBs I have pegged that could be first-round talents.
Oh, yeah.
One of them much later in the first round, but overall,
but I
think you have at least 5 QBs that are because you've got Bryce Young from Alabama, you've got C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, Will Levis from Kentucky, Richardson from Florida or Florida State,
I think Florida State.
and
isn't there a guy
Hooker
coming out
or something? Henderson Hooker or something from Tennessee?
Isn't there a guy coming out of Alabama too?
That was Bryce Young. That's what I said first. Alabama.
My bad.
But there's like Hooker or something, Henderson or something like that is coming out of Tennessee. Yeah. That's legitimately five QBs that could go in the first round.
Yeah.
And all of them have the talent to be in the first round.
I would agree with that. Some people have. I've recently been seeing that the guy from Kentucky, Will
Levis.
I've heard some people like pushing him out of the first round into the second, which I don't understand.
I've seen the exact opposite. I've seen some people pushing him up the boards.
I know, it's weird. I've been seeing people pushing him up and some people pushing him down. I don't understand.
We'll have to. I think he's going to really depend on his pro day and everything
the pro
else.
day as well as the combine.
All right, so continue with the firings.
The next one we got Denver Broncos fired coach Nathaniel Hackett. on December 26th.
We talked about that here on this channel.
Yeah, we talked about it. I was a little, at first I was like, maybe it wasn't fair, but you now see how Russell has played the last 2 games without him, and you have to start wondering, did Russell purposely play bad because he doesn't like Hackett, or does the offensive scheme that Hackett had installed doesn't work for Russ? It's hard to say which.
Yeah, you got to make that question. Because Russell finally looked like Russell and was cooking.
I know it's hard to say.
The past couple of games.
Which is it? Was it a scheme issue, or did he just not like Hackett? Hackett couldn't hack it. I don't know. Anyways, I'm curious to see what happens there. I mean, obviously the Broncos are going full in on the Sean Payton sweepstakes.
Yes,
they're all in on that book. In fact, I think they've already booked an interview with them already.
They have. They can't get it for a while, but they've already come up with what the compensation would be.
Yeah.
For New Orleans and everything else.
Yeah.
They've already booked everything with him. I think they're going to make a big run at him, and I don't know how that's going to work out. We'll figure it out.
I think there's a pretty good chance they end up getting him, but we'll see. Then we have for the Colts, head coach Frank Reich and offensive coordinator Marcus Brady were fired on November 7th. Man, that was a fucking mistake. Did Frank Reich have the best season ever? No. Did he have a good previous season? No. But here's the thing. I don't blame Frank Reich. That GM is fucking stupid. Like, you gave him a QB carousel and expected him to fucking find success with it.
Exactly. Not just a QB carousel, but a QB carousel of bad QB. Like,
yeah.
I can't... Carson Wentz is definitively a bad QB.
Yeah.
I can say Matt Ryan is not... Well, he is now
he's an aged veteran, right?
Aged veteran QB that doesn't have it anymore.
No.
He was a really good QB. And I think they thought they could squeeze the last bit of football left in him out, and I don't think he had. I think he's dry. I don't think there's anything left.
If you have him a good offensive line, maybe he could, but that offensive line is trash.
That problem. You got that problem too.
Like the thing is, if you look at Frank Reich and you look back at how good his actual seasons were previous to the QB carousel, he was a good coach. I mean, his record is still 40-33. He won more games than he lost. I don't see why it's a problem. And then if you compare that to the fact that the last 3 seasons they've had were basically losing 2 seasons. Sorry, they actually technically went to the playoffs with Phillip Rivers, but the last 2 seasons have been pretty bad losses. Like, you look at his success and you go, why did you fire him? Like, this wasn't the right decision. The GM should have been the one that goes, not Frank Reich.
100%, but
Jim Irsay, I think, has weird issues, man. Either that or he's in love with the GM. I don't know which.
We could go all the way back to 1983 to show that Jim Irsay has issues.
Like, he makes good decisions and then he makes really bad decisions. It's so weird.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you. We're looking at, and I'm gonna spoil it. I am working on the John Elway trade. For anybody who doesn't know, the rights to John Elway were traded from the Baltimore Colts, owned by Jim Irsay, to the Denver Broncos for a whack ton of crap. And the reason why is because Elway absolutely refused to play in Baltimore for Jim Irsay. He said, because at the time he was going to be a baseball player in New York, and he said, I will become a trash collector in New York before I ever play a down of football in Baltimore. Yeah. And it wasn't a shot at the city. It was an absolute shot at the fact that he knew Jim Irsay was a piece of trash.
Yeah. I like, don't get me wrong, Jim Irsay as a person is interesting. He's got interesting life stories. He's actually kind of an interesting character.
Yeah.
But as far as running a football, you could do better. You could do better. You could do a lot worse, but you could do better.
He's just under 500, in my opinion.
Yeah, basically. I would take him over some other owners, like.
I mean, because they were
the Dolphins owner, man. I'm not a big fan of that guy.
The Colts were middling until they lucked into Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
and then they lucked from Peyton Manning into Andrew Luck. Yeah, and then they haven't had anything since. No. This year they may luck into Bryce Young.
They might. Tennessee Titans fire general manager John Robinson and offensive coordinator Todd Downing. Robinson was fired on December 6th, while on January 9th, Todd Downing was fired. It was going to happen. It made sense. I mean, GM had to get fired for that awful A.J. Brown trade. Awful.
Terrible.
Straight
I don't know what they were fucking thinking with that.
Oh, that was the equivalent of what happened with the Texans. I bet you the GM and A.J. Brown got into a fight, And he went, I don't need you, I can trade you. And AJ went, good, fucking do it. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, as far as offensive coordinator Todd Downing, it was likely going to happen. I mean, they were so predictable. What are they going to do on first down? Run the ball. Like, every single time.
Derrick Henry.
Every single time. Derrick Henry. Third down and short. What are they going to do? Derrick Henry. Like, it was so predictable.
Let's just hitch a wagon to Derrick Henry and see if he can drag us to his playoff spot. Spoilers, he can't. I will say though that the
Derrick Henry's a great back, but you can't put literally the full workforce on him. It just doesn't.
And I will say that they had like half the fucking starters on that team were injured.
That's true, but I mean the play calling just wasn't good, and it was obvious that it was time to go. Well,
it was very obvious that it was time for that to move on.
Now, a new one that came out as of today, offensive coordinator for the LA Rams, Liam Cohen, has left to go back to the University of Kentucky.
Interesting. Yeah. That may indicate that McVay is close to making his decision.
And it might not be a good one.
Well, so he has stated that he's not done coaching.
No, not that he's done coaching, but it means that he might not come back next year.
No, I don't think he's going to. I think he wants a break. I think he wants to go into broadcasting for a couple of years, take a break, spend some time with the family.
That'd be very bad for the Rams.
Take the stress off, because let's be honest, head coaching is a stressful job.
And he's one of the youngest.
It's a high-stress job. It is not an easy job to do. I think he wants
to spend time with his family. I mean, he's a young guy.
He's also won a Super Bowl.
He's a young guy with a young family. He probably wants to spend more time with his kids as they're starting to get a little older.
Yep,
I don't blame him for that.
He's already won a Super Bowl. I've already done that. Yeah. Nah, I'm good for right now.
Yeah, I think he probably wants to wait for his kids to get a little older, spend some time with them, and then once they get into their teens, then he'll be like, okay, I'm back to going to coaching probably.
I'm going to go back into coaching. They're off to college now.
Probably get about 5 years or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to spend 5 years doing like a broadcast gig, and then he'll go back to coaching once they're like off into college and crap.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that take. I think McVay is going to walk.
Now the downside is that's a big problem for the Rams. What do you do then? And you've also lost your offensive coordinator. That's who you were probably going to tap. He left. He went, no, I don't want that shit. I'm out.
Yeah, no, he's a nope, bye-bye.
So, I mean, who do you pick now? If that happens, what do you do? I don't know, man. Now, moving on, stepping down is the Arizona Cardinals GM Steve Keim, I think is how you say his name. He just stepped down on time. Okay. Stepped down January 9th to quote-unquote focus on his health. That might be true, but let's be honest.
No, it totally is. He's been in and out of the hospital.
No,
I've been keeping up with that story.
No, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's probably true.
I think they let him step down because they were going to fire him.
Yeah.
So they told him, look, dude, you can claim it's for your health.
Yeah.
But we're going to axe you one way or the other. So you can go out on your terms or our terms.
Exactly.
How do you want to do it?
That's what I was going to say, is that regardless if it's true or not, they were going to probably get rid of him either way.
Oh, so absolutely.
This just is a better PR way to say, yeah, he's gone. So, and then, of course, we then also come to defensive coordinator Dean Pease for the Atlanta Falcons announcing his retirement at the age of 73 after 50 years of coaching football. So, frankly, well done, sir. I don't even care. I don't even care if you guys.
I will throw you. Yeah. I will throw you a party. You made it 50 years in the NFL and didn't kill anybody.
And on
that
top
alone
of that,
is worthy of a party.
And on top of that, most of his defenses were pretty good. So
yeah, most of your defenses were pretty good. Yeah,
well done,
absolutely.
sir. Well done.
Well done.
And those are the big firings, and that's all the big stuff. However, there is some other stuff that has come out recently that I want to see what your thoughts. Ravens Roquan agrees to a 5-year, $100 million extension.
Who?
Roquan Smith, linebacker.
Less money for Lamar. We've been saying it. If they don't, look.
His extension is worth $100 million, including $45 million fully guaranteed, with $60 million in total guarantees.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, he's a great piece of your defense, but you're giving him all that money. What's left for Lamar? Are you literally going to move off of Lamar? Because your entire offense is currently predicated off of Lamar.
Right. Yeah.
You've got nothing else. Guys, what are you doing?
Yeah, I almost wonder if they aren't going to keep Lamar. Like, I think they should, but I don't know if they're going to have the money to be able to afford him.
I think they should too, but again, I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to be stupid and they're going to do something dumb.
I think so too. I think
I think they're going to do something dumb, and I think it's going to shoot them in the foot. I don't know where he goes, but oh my lord.
And then the other news that just came out, Brandon Cooks, the wide receiver for the Texans, says he's not looking to be part of a rebuild. So
so they're going to want to trade him.
They're going to want to trade him because he's basically saying, no, you either trade me or I'm not going to play.
Yeah, he's drawing a line, but I can't disagree with him.
No.
He's been part of some really, really crappy Texans teams.
Yeah.
So let's be honest. Like, I 100% agree that at this point in our time that he's
a far better player than he looks, but that's because he's on the Texans.
Yeah. I think he gets traded. I don't think they get a lot for him, but I do think he gets traded.
He probably gets
traded. Let's talk about a few other things that I have here.
All right, your turn.
My turn. Lions eliminate the Packers. As Rodgers is... We love it. We love it.
Tom Grossi gets screwed by Sir.
He actually came out and he said, well, I know how to handle this. I've already got Everclear in the fridge.
Dude, he did. Yeah. He started. I love how he also was watching it. He had the beer just waiting for it, and then the minute that last reception happened, he's like, time to pop the beer.
The minute the game was over, he got a call from urinating tree.
Yeah. You want to cuddle? We can have maybe something more can happen. We'll just cuddle, Netflix and chill.
I got some popcorn we could pop. I've got a blanket. We can watch some movies on the couch.
Yeah. And of course, you know, Perna screwed him by going, "Go Pack, go!" right before the game started. So everyone's like, "Perna, you're cursed."
Yes. Okay. So as Rodgers, the running back for the Lions, Jamal Williams.
Is that his name? Yep.
He used to play in Green Bay, and he asked Rodgers for his jersey after the game, and Rodgers said, and I quote, "I think I need to hold on to this one."
Yeah.
And then he walked off, kind of threw his arm around
Randall Cobb,
and walked off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but that's symbolically throwing the helmet up in the air and walking off the field for the final time.
So the thing is, he has come out and he has stated about that basically he is looking at retiring potentially, but he wants to think about it. He doesn't want to hold Packers hostage, so it sounds like he's going to make a decision relatively quickly. I assume by the end of January.
I don't think so, because I think he's going to. I think he's looking at retiring, but I think he's going to drag it out. Look, there's one thing I have learned.
Said that he's not going to, so we'll see.
He said that a couple of years ago and then drug it out.
No, he didn't. Last time last time it was about money. This is more about, does he still have the drive to want to play?
But every time he does something like this, look, he's a master media manipulator at this point.
He is, and it might be just drumming up
all of the, you know, oh, Rodgers, you bum, you lost the game. You threw that pick and it cost us the game. He took all of that, immediately spun it, and played the retirement card.
So here's the thing. Like, I normally, more often than not, I would agree with what you're saying, but this is one of the few times where it looked and sounded more genuine than in past. Maybe he's just getting better at lying. I don't know, but
let's also be honest. The guy that mentored him was one of the most spectacular will I won't I quarterback maybe retire cases that they turned it into a fucking commercial.
That's true. I'm not disagreeing with that.
And they made a joke about it.
I just think that this might actually be, if there was a time for him to retire, because we know he came out and admitted that last year he debated on it as well, but didn't. I think that this might be the time he retires. See, he wants to end his career as a Packer. So if you want to end your career as a Packer, you ended up not having the best of seasons. It looks like it's not going to continue to get better. So either your options to continue to win another Super Bowl is to get traded or go, I'm done.
And who's going to trade for that contract right now? It's a ridiculous contract, and then all the drama that comes with him.
Exactly.
At this point, I think you're going to have to either say you're done or you're... I kind of have a feeling he wants to play on the West Coast closer to home. And I have a feeling that if he could get traded to a team there, that he would take it.
Maybe, but I just think there's a better chance he retires.
I agree, but at the same time, I think that if somebody like the Rams or the Seahawks, who have a decent team already set with great receivers, or even the Raiders, although the Raiders are apparently in on Brady.
They're all in on Brady right now.
Yeah. If any of those teams came calling and said, "Hey, we give up this and this for him, and we have the room," I think he'd have to think about it. It's closer to where he lives. It's closer to his house.
He might think about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean he would.
No, exactly. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm going to call out Quay Walker. For the second time this season, he has pushed medical personnel on the field trying to help somebody and gotten ejected for it. And then he had the nerve to walk up the tunnel and cry.
So I'm going to save all of my thoughts on the spectacular awfulness of those Packers. And we know there's more than one, because I actually went and actually got notes, put them down in my fucking phone because it was so egregious.
There were 3 people that I think should have been penalized on that particular.
Oh, that one, that one was 3. Yeah. Here's the thing, I have things I want to talk about with that, but I'm gonna save them for later because
got it.
They're going.
But I did want to highlight it here that we are going to talk about that. That's something we're going to talk about. We've already talked about the Broncos receiving permission to interview Peyton. Mm-hmm. All right, something that Rich Eisen brought up, and I'm going to shout it out here.
I haven't seen I haven't seen his stuff from yesterday or today.
This is very interesting. He said, "If you're the Cards, who's the first call you make?"
Hold on, before you answer, give me a second. I want to think about it. Before you do it, is this for GM or for coach? Coach, right?
For coach.
Who do you call for coach? Like if you're not going in on Sean Payton because you think you can't get him. I'm trying to think who would be a good fit that's possible up in the air. That would work.
Not even have to be up in the air. You just want to call and see if you can talk to the person.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. It's either would be Sean Payton, or Bill Belichick has already confirmed he's going back to the Patriots, so it's not him. Maybe Sean McVay, but I seriously doubt you're gonna even get a touch on that one.
Nope.
Hackett doesn't make sense.
Nope. You're thinking wrong.
Are you going college?
I'm going college, and I'm going to say that they haven't necessarily
stated. I haven't memorized
any interest in coaching.
Lincoln Riley, I don't know.
Yes, actually, that's what he said. Pick up the phone, call USC, call the Los Angeles area, and see if you can talk to Lincoln. Because the last time that if you're going to be all in on Kyler Murray, why not pick a coach that he knows and trusts and respects and could get the most out of him?
Yeah.
Why not make the call and at least see what you could do if Lincoln has any? I don't think he does. I don't think Lincoln moves. I think he's in a good spot at USC.
Well, I think this is a good segue to talk about the NCAA bullshit.
There is a lot of that. I'm not quite done yet.
Okay.
Not quite done. Got 2 things, and then we'll talk about the NCAA.
I was gonna argue with the as a side. We'll get to it, but because of the NCAA bullshit, there's a chance he might actually be more willing to switch.
No, exactly, because of everything going on in the NCAA. But I'm thinking if that isn't a thing, then he's got a great recruiting class. He's got a bunch of good young QBs right now. But with all the BS that's going on there, you might be able to get him. Which also means that the athletic director at USC would be disinclined to let you speak to him.
True.
Which is also a thing.
True.
All right. LaFleur came out and said that he would be open to Hackett returning to the Packers, probably as OC.
Yeah, probably.
And you called that, and I think that's a good thing. I don't know if Hackett goes back. If I'm Hackett, I think I want to. I want to go. Else, maybe? Yeah, I want to go learn under another coach. I obviously didn't do a good job.
You know what?
Coaching.
I just thought of it. Put him with the Patriots. Put him under Bill Belichick.
I am not opposed to that idea.
Because if you look at that system, he can make it work, and on top of that, he can't do any worse than Matt Patricia calling fucking calls.
No. I mean, but him going to the Titans and learning under Vrabel wouldn't be a horrible idea.
That wouldn't be a bad one either. That wouldn't be a bad one.
That's not a horrible idea either. And then we do have to shout out and say DeMar has made it back to Buffalo. They released him from the hospital. He appears to be doing a lot better. Yep. Word came out that apparently the first thing he asked when he was fully cognizant of anything was, did we win the game? And the doctor's, I believe, response was, you did win the game. You won the game of life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's been a tremendous outpouring. I think they're up to 7 billion now for his toy drive or something, or 7 million or some.
I think it's 7 million. I think it was
7 million. It's a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
They've done a great job. Chris Jericho has donated. All sorts of people have donated. It's been a pretty big deal. All right.
Still no word on what happened. Nobody still knows. So a lot of people are still.
All we know it was a massive heart attack, and the reasons why may never be known.
A lot of people
are
like,
body is really weird.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's because of the hit." Well, we don't know. We literally don't know.
And in fact, I have a medical background, and I'm almost 100% sure. I'm as sure as I can reasonably be that would not cause a heart attack.
Like it can. Like we've seen it before with baseball, where if you get hit directly in the heart, like with a pitch or something like that, it can like cause it to beat off rhythm, which could cause a heart attack. But it's like the way that he got hit didn't look like that would have been even close to the amount of pressure.
Else entirely. No, exactly. Yeah. So now that we've done that, I think we do have to move in and segue into the NCAA, because there is a load of bullshit going on there.
I'm going to pull it up on my phone just so that I can speak quote for quote on it. Hold on.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Quote for quote on this bitch.
So for those of you that don't know, the NCAA is starting to crack down on a lot of things, and they are being absolutely ridiculous. And, a part of this is because they lost a lawsuit over likeness rights to their players, which they didn't need to lose. They didn't even need to go in on. They could have just agreed to a likeness, to a monetary sharing policy. They could have classified the student athletes as jobs and actually paid them. But none of that is anything they actually did. Instead, they wanted to be greedy, piggy fuck, greedy, and keep all the money for themselves. And in the end, if you try that, you're gonna lose everything. The more you tighten your grip, the more things slip through your fingers.
Yep. Well, exactly. And they got so greedy that, so here's the thing. They have, the reason why this came up for us is because the NCAA are investigating Jim Harbaugh, which includes a level 1 violation along with, I think, some level 2 violations. What this means for people who don't know is that the NCAA have a 4-tier system of violations, going from level 1 to 4 based upon how egregious they believe it to be, with level 1 being the most egregious. So they're going after him for that. What the specific allegations are, it seems to be revolved around players and how they've been treated. Whenever he's talking with prospects, people are saying that maybe he's talking with prospects outside of certain dates that they're allowed to, or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's more or less. There's supposed to be periods where you can't contact the prospects. You're supposed to dead periods when nobody's supposed to be able to talk to them. But let's be honest. In this world of social media and everything else, they're finding a way. Because even if you're not talking directly to them, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, look, where there's a will, there's a way. They're going to find it. So apparently,
and to say that, like, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but just to say that, like, Jim Harbaugh is the only one that's done this, all of them have done it. I'm just to be honest.
He's the only one that's been caught.
Yeah, all of them probably are doing it all the time. It is what it is, right?
Yeah. Now, the reason they're mad at Harbaugh isn't because he did it. They're mad at him because apparently he was unhelpful during their investigation.
Yeah. They decided to slap him because...
This is where we find major fault with the NCAA.
Yeah. So apparently the NCAA has a new strict liability language that they have written into effect as of January, which holds that head coaches are responsible for violations within their program, regardless of knowledge and involvement, monitoring of staff, or promoting an atmosphere of compliance, which basically means you're at fault because we say so. And it doesn't matter. So basically, put it bluntly, if, say, a player or a different coach reaches out to a prospect without Jim Harbaugh's knowing and talks with them, it's still his fault. Which is the absolute most egregious thing ever. If we want to make it to, if we want to take it up a notch, just to make an extreme example, is, as we've heard before, college players doing absolutely repugnant things with women. They could still slap the coach with that, going, "Well, you weren't monitoring your players to know what they were doing." So it's your fault that these players went and did something really terrible to somebody.
Or to go to a different one, Sandusky. I shouldn't have to say more than that.
Yeah.
For those of you who are unaware, he was accused of multiple sexual violations with minors and other members of the football team. And supposedly, now, this would be in the case that Joe Pa didn't actually know.
Yes.
Supposedly, the case is he really did know.
Yes.
But if you go with the idea that he didn't know, he would still be responsible for all of it, and they'd be able to fire him anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the whole thing is egregious and stupid. And as you and I have discussed, we kind of think this is because when you lost those likeness rights, now you need to find another way to make money. So finding the schools and coaches as a part of the NCAA in order to make your money to pay your executives is now the only option that you have left.
Yep.
You're trying to turn into the police. Let me tell you something right now. The police is not the model you want to fucking use.
No. The police are certainly not perfect. I get why they are the way they are, but the NCAA, you guys aren't the police. Stop acting like the police. And frankly, the fact that they have this kind of rule written, their coaches are going to leave. They're not going to want to stay if they think that, because the only way they can protect themselves at this point is to basically act like the school is a jail. Put ankle monitors on all your players, walk them to all of their classes, walk them back to the dorm, make sure they have no free time, and when they do have free time, you have to monitor where they're going at all times and have somebody there that's constantly watching them. It's ridiculous, and no one's going to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's absolutely stupid beyond all measure. I think this is just going to be an abysmal failure, and I think this is to me the death knell of the NCAA.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not just college football it's going to affect, but all college sports. And I'm going to guarantee you, man, let me tell you, this is the death knell. The NCAA is going to no longer be the NCAA. I give it 5 years, and it's just going to collapse. Because nobody's going to want to be there. Nobody's going to want to coach there. Nobody's going to want to be a part of it.
Once enough fines start coming in, which it sounds like it's going to start happening. Once schools start realizing that how ridiculous it is, there's going to be a point where they're just going to go. There's going to be a point where there's either one or two things that's going to happen. Either schools are going to finally go, hey, we don't want to pay these fines anymore. This is getting ridiculous. We're bowing out of the NCAA and we're going to create our own league. Or worst case scenario is one of these schools is going to eventually go bankrupt from all these fines because they won't be able to pay them.
Exactly. Or they just won't have collegiate sports anymore.
They'll have to cancel all their programs, yeah.
Yeah, which would just be a fucking travesty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the other option that I just thought of is a bunch of the schools banding together and challenging it in a court of law.
Yeah.
That the language cannot be enforced.
Yeah, in that
and
way,
I could see them actually winning that case, which would still be the death knell of I think that would cause major sweeping changes within the NCAA structure. And that whether it would be enough to save it or not is unknown. But
yeah,
absolutely right now, look, NCAA, you are on thin ice. You are probably not going to be around in a couple of years.
If you keep it up and you don't change that language, yeah, that's exactly what'll happen.
Yeah, you're going to be done, guys. Sorry. It is what it is. All right. Here's a good question. Do we want to do our recap now?
Yeah, we should do recap and then go into playoff predictions after that.
All right. So let's do our recap.
All right, let me pull up last week's games.
I got them right here.
Oh, you got them already? Perfect.
I got everything. I saved it all on a notepad for us.
Fantastic.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
So we start with the Chiefs at the Raiders. We both picked the Chiefs. We were both correct. The Chiefs did beat the Raiders. They absolutely pounded them into sand. Stidham still looked halfway decent. So, I don't know what the Raiders are going to do at quarterback, but Stidham looked okay.
He's good, but I think he's always just going to be a good backup. Like he can.
I agree with you, actually, 100%. Yeah. But point is, Raiders. Thanks, nice try. Thanks for coming. Try again next year. Maybe you left Tom Brady.
Or Aaron Rodgers if you're lucky enough.
Or Aaron Rodgers if you're lucky. Titans at Jags. We both picked the Jags. We were both correct, but that was a hell of a lot closer game than either of us wanted.
Yeah.
I'm going to be straight honest. Trevor Lawrence looked pressured.
Not good. Yeah.
He looked pressured. He looked very stiff.
I'm a little
overthrew
worried.
a lot of balls that he normally doesn't overthrow. The defense certainly didn't do him any favors.
He did look a little nervous, yeah.
He looked very nervy. I feel bad for him. But they won in the end. So, Bucks at Falcons. We both picked the Falcons, and we were both correct. Desmond Ridder had his best game as a professional football player so far. The Bucks looked like absolute trash, and I don't even think they played the starters all game. I do think they started, and then I think they pulled them.
No, they
the
had
Bucks
Brady in there at one point.
we did say it. The Bucks had nothing to play for. They won their division. They're guaranteed. They cannot get better than the 4th overall playoff spot. They can't lose the 4th overall playoff spot.
I don't even know why they played some of their starters to begin with. Like, it didn't make sense.
If you want me to be honest, it's because they didn't earn the day off.
I mean, you're not wrong.
All right. Pats at Bills. We both picked the Bills. We were both correct. That game looked closer than it was for a little while.
It was actually kind of enjoyable for a while, yeah.
And then the Bills came and blew them out.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably Mac Jones' best game of the season, to be completely honest with you.
Probably this season, yeah, I would have to agree with that.
Probably this not overall as a pro, but this season.
Definitely this
I think
season.
That's his
yeah.
best game of the season for him. Vikings at Bears. We both picked the Vikings. We were both correct. The Vikings stomped on the Bears.
I told you it wasn't going to be even close. Like, I knew that was going to be one of the few games that, like...
There were some egregiously bad calls in that game, but they amounted to little to nothing in the end. Field goal call...
That was...
I rewatched the field goal.
Yeah.
I couldn't see what you were talking about with the Bears having people on the field, too. I could only see that it looked
like it was a scramble, and there was I think there was one person that looked like he might have been behind. It was weird. It was just a weird overall thing the entire time. I mean, I'm not really that upset. I'm not as upset as I was about it at first, as after looking more into the rules.
You were raging in my text.
It didn't make any sense. And the more I read into the rules myself later on and read it and looked into it, I can understand why what happened, but I still think it's really bad. I think the precedent there is really terrible, and a lot of people don't seem to understand that, but that's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. Texans at Colts. We both picked the Texans to beat the Colts. We were both correct. The Texans beat the Colts, and by doing so, lost the first overall draft pick.
Again, we talked about that already. It doesn't really matter.
I don't think that mattered, but we talked about that. But still funny. The Texans did beat the Colts on a ridiculous Hail Mary pass. If you didn't see that play, it was fantastic.
It was.
And absolutely hilarious. There's no reason that should have been caught.
No.
They should have lost that game, and then they found a way to win it, and I love it. I love them for it. I think that's fantastic. Now, worst game of the week, and possibly the season. Jets at Dolphins. We both picked the Jets. We were both wrong. The final score was Dolphins 11, Jets 6. There were 0 offensive touchdowns in that game, and the only reason that the safety happened is the Dolphins were trying for a Music City Miracle style play at the end of the game and fumbled the ball out the back of the end zone like a bunch of doofuses. That's the way the Jets season deserves to end. I hate to say it. Sorry, guys. That was terrible. The last piece of thing I saw was they asked Zach Wilson how he would feel if they brought in a veteran quarterback, and he said, I'm going to make that guy's life hell every day he's here. And I was like, dude, go park your ego somewhere and sit and listen to a veteran.
Yeah,
for Christ's sakes, you're a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Panthers at Saints. I picked the Saints. You picked the Panthers. You won. Good job.
Granted, it wasn't for the reasons I thought. Sam Darnold was hot garbage.
Oh my God! As many quarterbacks as had absolute trash games, they all need to send money to Sam Darnold because that game
Darnold looked like
Dude
trash,
had
and they
a
still won.
45 yards and 2 touchdowns.
45 yards.
Two interceptions.
He was like, I think it wasn't he like 4 for like 14 and something too, or like 5
Something
and
14,
yeah.
45 yards and 2 interceptions. And the only reason they won that game was their Darnold fumbled it in the end zone, and it was recovered by one of his own players.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my god.
It was atrocious.
That game was it was another steaming pile of hot garbage.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put that.
Yes. It was another dumpster fire. Let's be honest.
It really was.
Yes. Browns at Steelers. We both picked the Steelers, and we were both correct. Kenny Pickett looked pretty good again. They played the Browns fairly solidly. Jadeveon Clowney didn't play in the game. Apparently, he's been sent home. Apparently, he won't be a Brown anymore. Whoops.
Whoopsie daisies.
Giants at Eagles. You picked the Giants. I picked the Eagles. I was correct. I will say that the Giants basically started their second stringers the entire game. They didn't even play the top guys.
And that's the thing. If I would have known how, like, they didn't even play their second stringers. Davis Webb is like their third string quarterback.
Their third string guy, and I think I think they did it for 2 reasons. One, they can't improve their draft, but they can't improve their playoff position no matter what. No. 2, if the Eagles win, the Cowboys can't win the division, so we might as well fuck the Cowboys while we're at it. It turns out they didn't need to do that because the Cowboys fucked themselves.
Oh, God, yeah. So here's the thing. I only picked the Giants just to be contrary, basically. Like, I knew the odds were the Eagles were definitely going to win that game.
Yes.
But I was kind of hoping that the Giants would win and give, just for the funsies of it. But
yeah, it would have been nice. But we've got some other ones here. Cowboys at Commanders. Speaking about the Cowboys shooting themselves in the foot, we both picked the Cowboys. We were both really, really wrong.
Oh.
The Cowboys played their starters almost the entire game, and they played like a hot steaming pile of shit. They got nothing going. They were under 2 yards per carry on offense. The Dak just looked utterly lost. The defense couldn't pressure a rookie quarterback into making mistakes.
I'll say this, though. He looked good. He looked good.
He looked good because their defense was garbage.
Well, their defense was garbage, true, yes, which is weird. But, I'm just saying, maybe give him some more chances. See how he does.
Since we're not doing power rankings this week, I will reveal that due to their mishaps, the Ravens, the Cowboys, and the next team we're going to talk about all fell out of my power rankings just for being hot garbage. Because the next one is the Chargers at the Broncos, and we both picked the Chargers, and we were both wrong. Now, we need to say this wasn't because the Chargers started their second string or third stringers. No. They started their starters the entire game and still got beat.
No, they pulled them in the fourth quarter.
Did they pull them in the fourth quarter?
They pulled them in the fourth quarter.
Like at the end of the fourth quarter, though, right?
No, it was pretty much like in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Like they realized,
Doesn't matter.
I think they realized that they were trying to win the game. They realized we can't win. Let's not potentially get more injuries that time because there was already 2 people that got injured. They were like, let's not injure any more of our starters.
It was dumb. It was the dumbest thing.
It was really stupid.
Oh my god!
Which is why people keep talking that Brandon should get fired. Brandon should get fired. He hasn't been a good head coach.
That right there.
On top of that, I hate to be that guy, but I think they're underperforming based upon what you have for players.
I absolutely agree. I think you should be way better than what you are.
I think Sean Payton and the Chargers would be amazing.
The Chargers fell out of my fucking thing. Absolutely. Just to go back to the Cowboys real quick, somebody said it. I think it was Rich Eisen again, in fact. Who did point out that if the Cowboys lay an egg like that in their playoff game against the Giants, against Tampa.
Against Tampa,
Against Tampa, McCarthy may be out.
It's possible. I'm not sure I'm convinced by it.
Especially where you've got Harbaugh and Sean Payton available as coaches. Yeah. And then whatever the Broncos think that they have.
Yeah.
Because I'll guarantee you he makes a big run at Payton.
So here's what I'll say.
I don't think he gets it, but I think he'll try.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say on it. They might fire McCarthy. I don't think they should, because I think McCarthy's actually been probably one of their better coaches they've had in a while, comparatively to like who they've had in the past. And if you end up are there better coaches you could potentially get? Sean Payton, absolutely a better coach. Are you going to get him? No, Jerry Jones, you're not getting him. I don't care how much money you throw at him. You're not getting Sean Payton. And here's what I'm going to come down to. Jerry Jones, it's time to fucking let it go, my guy. You're old, you're senile, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing anymore. It's time to let it go.
I agree with you 100%. This is, in fact, it's been Jerry's fault for years now.
Like the whole Zeke shit and the Dak shit, like he's overpaying him by a lot.
Yeah. All right. Rams at Seahawks. You rode or died with Baker Mayfield, and you died, good sir.
It was close, though. It was close.
It was close.
Yeah.
No thanks to Baker, but it was very, very close.
If he hadn't underthrown that ball, Jefferson gets that and gets a touchdown. I'm just saying.
We also want to talk about, because you pointed out the Ramsey penalty, which you didn't think should be a penalty. I disagree with you. I absolutely understand why it's a penalty.
The guy ran into him.
Hold on.
Where was he going to go?
Hold on.
Where was he going to go?
Out of bounds. Gino was clearly headed out of... Hold on.
So was Ramsey. Ramsey was out of bounds. He was pushed out of bounds.
Let me explain. Gino's clearly headed out of bounds.
Yes.
At that point, Ramsey, you take a step to the side, and it wasn't that he ran into Ramsey. It's that Ramsey lowered his shoulder and threw himself forward.
He did.
I
rewatched the entire thing.
I rewatched it
Here,
too.
you want to know what happened? He had a guy to his left, a player to his left, and he had coaches on his right. He had nowhere to go, and so he went sideways to try to miss him, and Gino ran right into him.
He lowered himself forward, and he actually...
He barely roiled. He went like this. He tried to fucking miss him, for fuck's sake.
I don't think he was trying to miss him.
You're out of your damn fucking mind, my guy. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
I hate Jalen Ramsey anyway because I think he's a prick.
I'll agree with that. He is a prick. He is a complete asshole. But I still don't think that was a good...
having him do this is totally within his character.
No. It was not a good penalty. It really wasn't. Granted, it didn't actually have that big of an effect overall to the game.
No, because they missed the field goal.
They missed the field goal.
They bounced it off the upright.
But I still don't agree with the call.
And then they had to punt the ball away in overtime. And then I think it was first or second play, Baker drops back, throws the interception. That was it.
If he hadn't underthrown that ball, dude, it was so perfect. He was so open if he didn't underthrow that ball. Oh, he
underthrew it by a lot, too.
I know. Yeah, Jefferson had to stop and literally try to come back for the ball. Oh, man.
Yeah,
if that was Matthew Stafford throwing it, that would have been fine.
Oh, absolutely. So, that's where that one went. Congratulations, Seahawks. You made the playoffs, but you only made the playoffs because of what happened later. We'll talk about that.
That was kind of
Niners. We both picked the Niners. We were both right. The Cards rolled over and showed their soft underside again.
Yeah.
I will say JJ ended his career pretty good. For the 2 sacks, 5 quarterback pressures. Nice job, Mr. Watt. You get to head up with your head held high. You were a hell of a player, good sir.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Ravens and the Bengals. We both picked the Bengals. We were both correct. Doesn't matter. You guys are about to meet each other again.
Exactly. The only thing the only thing that mattered was who got home field advantage. Because if Ravens won, then they would have had to have done that stupid coin flip. Which, by the way, fucking stupid. It was
Also, that was stupid. However, it did lead to the greatest.
The giant fucking.
The guy with the giant coin, and then when
that was great.
Nixon scored, he
threw the coin off
and he flipped the coin in the end zone and just left it there.
Dude, if they get fined for that, I thought Tom Grossi, I think, was it Perna or Grossi that brought it? I think it might have been
Grossi. He said they should pay those giant fucking coins. No, it might have been Perna. It was Perna. And that's good sports.
Yeah, that's good sports.
He just literally held it up. He was like, he should pay in those giant coins.
He should pay in 100 of those giant coins.
Yes, that was so funny. Oh my god. Yeah. Shout out to Perna and that's good sports. Good job, guys. That made me laugh. All right, and then, of course, the final game, the Lions at the Packers. The Lions ending the Packers' hopes of any postseason play. We both picked the Lions to win, and we were both correct. The Lions got it done. The Lions got it done at Lambeau, baby.
I do wish. This is the main reason also I picked the Rams to win over the Seahawks, because I was hoping for a final game where anyone who wins goes to the playoffs. And let's be honest, I'm not going to lie to you. I think Lions deserve that spot over the Seahawks.
I agree with you 100%, which is why they're in my power rankings above. If we did power rankings, they're actually above the Seahawks.
Yeah, they would have been on mine too.
I think they deserve that. They've really taken off. I think they've turned a corner, and I think they're going to be really, really fucking dangerous next year.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's going to be because they have a first round pick. Thanks to they have
The
a
Rams,
really
yeah.
high first round pick thanks to the Rams from the Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford trade. Which is not going to go. Oh my god. Anyway, so that's the recap of last week. Which playoffs do you want to do first, NFC or AFC?
Let's do AFC since we're not as biased over there.
All right. So the AFC playoffs are the following. Your bye is the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
You have Miami at Buffalo. And Tua still has not been cleared.
Even if so, the odds are that he'll likely play just because it's the playoffs. But even then, it's still Buffalo. I still don't.
It's still Buffalo.
Like I understand that Miami did win.
Down for Buffalo.
Yeah, like I understand that Miami has beaten Buffalo, but I think the odds they're going to beat them in playoffs is very small, and they've gotten worse. So I just don't believe that Tua is going to be able to lead another victory over the Buffalo. I just don't see it.
So then it's Baltimore at Cincy.
Cincinnati. I mean, they already beat them once. They'll do it again.
And I definitely agree. Both of us are going to pick Cincy. Chargers at Jags. And here's where things are going to get fun.
The thing is, like, so here's what I'm going to say on this. I was originally thinking that Chargers had a good chance to win that, but with how bad the Chargers played against the Broncos, and the fact that Jacksonville has looked better, granted they did have a rough game, but it wasn't as bad as what the Chargers put up the last game. So I'm actually going to pick the Jaguars.
Figured you would. I'm taking the Chargers for everything you just said. I think the Jags had that rough game. I think they're going to be nervous going into the game. Yeah. And if for God's sakes they throw up another stinker like that against the Chargers, you can't recover from that.
No, that is true.
The Chargers are not the Titans, dudes.
No.
They will beat you. So you got to be prepared. I will be happy to be wrong about that. But what I saw last week, I think there's some nervousness there that has to work itself out, and I don't know if it will in time.
Right, I agree with that.
So that's the games this week for the playoffs in the AFC. Playoffs in the NFC. Eagles get the bye. So we start with Seahawks at Niners.
It's going to be Niners. Like, there's almost no way. Niners.
Both of us, I already marked you down for taking that, by the way. I think both of us are taking the Niners, and I don't think there's any way the Seahawks can win that. Look, Seattle, you had a way better season than you expected to have. You expected to finish in contention for a first overall pick, and instead you're in the playoffs. Good job. You overachieved.
Pretty much.
You're still going to get a top overall pick, though, because Denver's stuck.
Pretty much.
Giants at Vikings. I'm going to go ahead and say that both of us are going to pick the Vikings to win that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I marked you down for that. Look,
I don't care if I'm biased about it.
I don't care if I'm biased about it either. The Vikings are going to win that game. We've already beat the Giants once. We're going to do it again. It's in Minnesota. Fuck the Giants.
Skull, motherfucker, skull.
Skull. All right, now for the one that I think I'm not sure where you're going on. I think I know where you're going to go, but I'm not 100% sure. Because both of these teams laid stinky fat pieces of dog shit in their final games this week. Cowboys at Tampa.
This is a weird one that I've flipped on a couple of times because on paper, Cowboys should easily win. But they're so up and down, it's hard to say if they'll actually beat Tampa. And it's hard to bet against Brady in the playoffs because that's when he typically plays his best. For the sake of just screwing the Cowboys, I'm picking Tampa.
I also picked Tampa, but that's simply because with the egg they laid last week, I think Brady in the playoffs, I think they're going to have a good shot. In fact, if I remember right, didn't they start the season there and Brady and Tampa won? I don't remember.
I don't remember, yeah.
Point is, I know they did last season. Brady and Tampa, I think, are going to beat the Cowboys and send them home quite early to another first round loss.
Probably,
I don't think there's a question about that anymore. I wish we could say that there was, but there's obviously not.
No.
We both agree with that. Okay. We're not going to do that. All right, I want to talk real quick before we get further into other stuff. Chris and I have a couple of things we're going to try to do here coming up. We have an awards idea that we're going to do after the season is over, but we're not going to do typical awards. I mean, we'll do some of those. Obviously, you're going to want to see who we think is the MVP, et cetera, et cetera. But we're also going to do things like the LVP. Which player was the least valuable player to their franchise this year? Who made a ton of money and didn't matter in the long run? We're going to do things like who was the best rookie, but also who was the worst rookie this year? Who got drafted really high and just did squat? I think my answer is going to surprise people. So we're going to look at a bunch of stuff like that. We're going to look at what was the worst game, what was maybe the most fun game, what was the, who's the perseverance player, who got injured and just had to suffer through a bunch of shit and still came out on top. What player's the hard luck player? Every time you think they're turning a corner, another thing happens. Team or player. Yep. We got a whole bunch of stuff like that planned out. We're also looking at doing, after the playoffs have ended, we're going to do a separate video that is going to be a 1 to 32 team ranking as a look back to the season. Yep. We're also going to do, I think we want to do a mock draft video for the upcoming draft.
Yep. Just the first round.
Just the first round.
Just the first round.
And we're also going to mock up the first round of an old draft and redraft it. I recommend 2012 for us to start with. That's a 10 years ago draft. That's a decade ago. So looking back.
And then I think, was it after the draft or right? I think right before the season starts, we also want to do another 32 power rankings.
We want to do another 32, but it's based on looking
going forward based upon what they've drafted,
not just to next
what they
season,
got. Yeah.
What how many draft picks do they have? Even if they had a bad record, where do you place them based on looking forward in the future?
Yep.
Not just looking backwards. Because my initial idea was to do a full 1 to 32 this week or one of these days, and I was taking into account, what draft picks do they currently have, who's under contract, what positions are they in, how much money do they have for free agency and other things. And Chris was like, no, why don't we separate it into two? And I was like, okay, that sounds good. So,
this isn't weird, I promise.
It only looks weird.
I'm only blowing my bird.
For those of you, if we ever do just audio, that's gonna be the thing that gets us demonetized right there.
I'm just blowing my bird. Leave me alone.
We shouldn't bother consenting adults who like to dress up in BDSM outfits and bang each other in the head with ball peen hammers while they take turns blowing the cat. It's a victimless hobby.
Completely victimless.
Think about how good the cat must feel.
Oh, God. All right.
All right.
So
we want to do some hot potato?
Yeah, let's go into hot potato, and then we'll go to Dante's Inferno, because I have speeches for my Infernos.
I've got some for my Infernos, too, and then I've hit the showers, and I've got a rant for Hockey Corner this week.
I'm looking forward to that.
I have a fucking rant.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
And in fact, you could take what I'm going to say in Hockey Corner and apply it to most of what I'm going to talk about.
Fair enough.
For other sports, too. So, hot potato. Do you want to start? You want me to start?
I think I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe the Jaguars are actually going to make it to the Super Bowl. It's a little early to say that one.
Yeah, I'm going to pass that for right now because it's a little early.
I admit it's a little early.
It's a little early. Not a bad take, but it is a little early. I'd say they have potential. Certainly they have potential. Yeah. But look, Trevor Lawrence is going to have to calm down. He's got to start hitting some of those open throws. They got to find a running game again. ETN's got to get his legs moving. They had none of that against Tennessee. Tennessee just stomped him at the line all night long. Look, you've got to figure that out, and your defense has to start doing you some more favors. Yeah. I think they have a chance, but they're going to have to get real hot, even hotter than they have been. And I don't know if they can get that hot in that amount of time.
I agree.
All right. So this one, I'll start you with a tame one. This is a tame potato.
That's what I was doing too,
This is a tame
Something
potato.
Simple.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers has played his last game at Lambeau?
You know what? I'm not convinced yet. I think there's a good chance he actually returns. So no, I'm not eating that potato.
Okay.
I actually think there's a pretty good chance he comes back. He's just too. The thing is, as much as I don't like the guy, he is a very competitive, sports-driven individual. I think the odds that he decides to retire when he thinks he might still have something left in the tank, I kind of doubt it.
Okay.
Now,
Fair.
will he be a Packer when he goes to Lambeau? That's a different story.
There you go. All right.
Maybe the Chargers should fire Brandon Stanley and go pursue Sean Payton?
No, I'll eat that. Look, we've talked about the fact that if you make the playoffs, you're pretty set.
Yeah. But even in this case, I'm still not
Brandon
sure.
Staley, man, if you don't get out of the first round and you do lose to the Jaguars this year, you're gonna find yourself in Dante's Inferno pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
And I think that you could lose your job over that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that with the talent you have on that team, you have to make a good run if you want to hold on to your job at this point.
And the other big reason I bring that up is because Sean Payton already, basically from my understanding, is pretty decent friends with the owner, or knows the owner pretty well. Like, my
understanding is you're correct about that.
So that's already an easy sell for the Chargers if they decide to pursue it. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's a tough one. If you put up a goose egg, there's a very good chance that the owner might just go, "Hey, Sean Payton, what you doing?"
Yep. All right. Here's my first spicy shot across your bow. Maybe Baker Mayfield is overrated?
Overrated. Is Baker Mayfield overrated? You know, I'm actually not going to eat that. And the only reason I'm not is because a lot of people over the last year have been giving Baker shit. And have actually dropped his rating. So I don't think he's actually overrated. Now, if you're talking about Skip Bayless, absolutely overrated. But if you're talking like the general perception of Baker, I think most people have realized that what he is, which is he's a gunslinger with a big arm who's going to make a lot of mistakes. That's what he is, and I think most people have accurately predicted that.
Here's another question, then a follow-on to that. Would you call him a bust?
For the pick that he was picked at, yes. He did not live up to what his expectation was.
He was like the second overall pick or something, wasn't he?
I think so. If he wasn't first, he was second. Yeah.
Yeah, he was real high up there, and he has not lived up to that at all.
No, not at all. Bad QB, no, but definitely not the caliber of a top draft pick.
Alrighty, shoot me with your third.
All right. Let me see here. What's a good one to go for? Something spicy, but not real spicy. I don't know. Maybe I go super spicy. Maybe I don't. What do I do? You know, I think... Yeah. Maybe the Jets have a really bad QB problem and need to finally figure out their shit. Specifically, I'm talking about Zach Wilson. Like, the fact that they have said that they're going to keep that guy is fucking mind-boggling to me.
It's not mind-boggling to me. I'll eat the potato because I think they do. But it's also because they wouldn't get anything for him right now.
Move him anyway. He's an asshole. No one wants him.
That's kind of the problem. And then you've got a whole bunch of problems with him right now.
Yeah.
I think he's going to end up being cut and going nowhere.
Yeah, like
he's got an ego the size of Mount Rushmore, and I think
he's the Josh Rosen of his year. I'm gonna be honest with you.
There's always the chance that somebody could break his jaw and cause him to fucking figure shit out. Sometimes you just need to have somebody beat the shit out of you.
I'm surprised it's not Robert Saleh. How jacked that guy is.
Oh, dude, Saleh's a beast. But no, I'll eat that. I think they absolutely have a QB problem, and I think they absolutely need to figure out what the fuck they're doing at that position right now.
Like, to be honest with you, if they don't next year figure out their shit, Saleh's job's on the line for sure.
Oh, absolutely. The Zach Wilson pick was... I mean, look, you've done a great job with the defense. You've probably gone further than anybody thought you should. At this point, you either have to
got that
trade
offense,
Wilson.
man. Yeah.
You either have to trade Wilson, and I don't know if it's Salah's job on the line or the GM.
I think probably both, just for
A little bit of both, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think at this point, Salah's done a great job with the team, so I think he's got just a little more leeway. But the fact that you were the guy who scouted and drafted Zach Wilson, who's got this dirigible-sized ego, that's now causing problems for your team, I think the GM's on a short leash now.
Very likely. Very likely.
And we'll see how that works out. Because everything else he's done, though, has been solid gold. I mean, Sauce Gardner, fantastic pick. And Garrett Wilson has been the beast as that. And the running back they picked up that got hurt this year, Bryce, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Bryce. It wasn't Bryce Young, was it? Bryce?
I think so. Something like that.
Okay.
The point is, also, fantastic pick. So you've done a lot of good things, but that quarterback is going to be your anchor. And you've got to find a way to cut it loose.
You either have to cut it loose or you have to figure out how to tame it. I know Robert Saleh basically told him that he wanted him to take the entire off-season literally off. Like, literally just clear your space, get away from football. Because he thinks that's part of his problem.
I think that would be a good idea.
But I don't know if that'll fix it. I don't know if that'll fix it.
But I think that's a good idea.
It's a good idea,
Get your mind off of football. Because let's even figure out if you want to play.
Yeah. Because it seems like you don't even want to be here.
If you take that much time away from football and you don't want to be here and you don't want to be playing football, there's remedies for that. We can fix that.
Yeah.
You know, but if you say you want to be here and you want to play, then you need to get your head in the right spot.
Exactly. Like you watch the way he plays and the way he acts and the things he says, it almost seems like he doesn't want to be there, but I don't know.
I don't either.
What's your last one?
All right, my last one. Let's give this one a spicy shot, and I know
probably spicier than mine.
Perna's gonna think this one's super spicy.
Okay.
Maybe Russell Wilson isn't washed.
Isn't washed? I have so many issues on that one. He had 2 good last games, but is that enough to say that he isn't washed?
Surprisingly, they both came after Hackett got fired.
I know. It could have been just a lucky 2 games. It might have been that he was given more freedom to make calls. Who knows? Is he washed? I will say no, just simply to the fact that those last... I'll eat the potato. He isn't washed yet. At least not provably yet. Yeah, he had a really bad season, but those last 2 games, he had beautiful deep balls, good accuracy at moments. He still clearly has some left in the tank. Now, how much is left in the tank? That's a different question.
That is a different question.
Can he do a full season with the tank? What he's got left in the tank? I don't know. But is he washed? No, he isn't like Matt Ryan washed, right? He still has some fire.
Matt
left.
Ryan, Tom Brady style washed.
Yeah, he still has fire in that tank. Now, whether or not it's enough, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. You good? You good? We good?
I think we're good now.
Okay. We don't need you dying on the podcast. Come on now. I can't give you CPR from all the way over here.
No, I have a wife. She can do that.
That's true. Fair enough. Okay. Now
I was trying to cough myself to death.
Yes. Anyways. Okay, so I think we're finished with hot potatoes. Unless you have more to add for the Russell Wilson thoughts.
No, and really it comes down to those last 2 games. He looked a lot more like the old school Russell Wilson that we're used to. He looked, I mean, he still didn't run like young Russell, but we didn't expect that. But he did move around in the pocket a lot better. He did get out on some rushes. He threw the moon ball with pretty good accuracy. I think, and I don't know if that's because they finally cut him free from whatever Hackett had him doing. Or if it was that he hated Hackett, as you supposited, or if he decided that he just wanted to play football for those last 2 games and he got lucky.
That's possible.
There's anything of that. So I have trouble making what the Broncos are going to be next year based off of the end of the season. I have no idea what they're going to become.
Listen, all I'm going to say is it's real fucking convenient that the minute Hackett gets fired, all of a sudden a bunch of Russell Wilson's players, or not players, a bunch of his teammates came out and defended Russell Wilson. I'm not saying that they were in on the conspiracy, if there was one. I'm not saying that's what happened. But it seems real convenient that when Hackett got fired, that all of a sudden a bunch of Russell's teammates came out in defense of Russell, saying he's still a good player, and then he happens to play 2 of his best games of the season. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy theory there, but it's certainly easy to make the connections.
It is absolutely easy to make the connections. And these are the same players who were stabbing him in the back earlier this season.
Exactly.
So was that on the orders of Hackett? Was there something else going on there? We don't know.
I don't know.
Point is that I think the Broncos are going to be interesting TV next year, no matter who's the coach.
It's possible the Broncos are next year what they were supposed to be this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So, all right. That's done. Let's head to the Inferno. You've got some Inferno takes here.
Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
I'll go ahead and go first.
Okay.
Because none of mine are particularly spicy at this point. I got one that you're going to disagree with, I know. I don't care.
That's fine. I already know because you said that, I already know who it is. So go ahead.
Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 6th circle, good sir. You're not all the way in hot, super hot yet. If you lose this game, good sir, if you lose this game, pack your bags. Jerry will get rid of you.
Probably. He shouldn't, but he probably will.
So you're not like, oh my God, I need to leave now, but you're starting to feel the warmth of that seat, I think.
Yep, that's fair. At a number 8, at the circle 8, I have Brandon Stanley. Listen, it's
Staley.
for the Staley. I have a hard time with your last name, bud. I'm sorry. Listen, if you put up another goose egg, your job's on the line. Even if it's not this year, it might be next year. You're kind of treading water, and it's not looking good.
Okay.
It's my tame. By the way, I'm going tamest to most fiery. In case you haven't noticed.
I'm gonna go with another really tame one right now.
Okay.
But it's kind of a spicy take on.
Oh, okay.
This one's a little spicy, even though I didn't put him very deep in. Bill Belichick.
Really? Okay.
Yep, you're in the 7th circle, sir. You're coming back for another year. You've earned yourself a lot of rope by having a lot of wins.
You sure you shouldn't add Mac Jones in that one too?
No, just Bill Belichick for right now.
Okay.
And here's why. I'll tell you why my thoughts are the way they are. So, you've been on record as stating that if a coach is a good coach, they should be able to call offensive or defensive plays, and you let your defensive guy call your offensive plays. That didn't work out for you. So either your eye for coaches is garbage, or you made a mistake. Your rope is running out, good sir. You've had a magnificent career. Absolutely astonishing. I think you've been a bit exposed without Tom. I think Brady was the reason for a lot of that, but I'm not sure. I think Tom is now beginning to look exposed without you.
The funny thing is, I think this is what I think we both, when we talked about this, predicted this might be the case, where neither one exactly is the sauce. It's them together that makes the special sauce.
Yeah, it's the both parts create a better whole.
Yeah.
Guy, though, you are running out of time to fix what's wrong in New England. You have to turn that ship around, or the Kraft is being patient with you because he's known you forever. He's a friend of yours. You're a friend of his. You've won him a lot of championships, a lot of trophies, but at a certain point, he's going to have to fish or cut bait. And
I was going to say, is there a chance ever that Brady goes back to Patriots at all?
I won't say never, but he and Bill did not part on the best terms.
They didn't, but because they've now been away from each other enough, maybe they'll realize.
Maybe they can repair that relationship. That would be interesting, if nothing else.
Like if he ends up going to the Raiders for 1 year, there's a chance that he ends up going back the next year to like the Patriots for one final season, and that way he can also retire a Patriot, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that wouldn't be totally unexpected. But yeah, Mr. Belichick, you're in the seventh circle. You've got to turn this around.
Yeah.
You've got to figure out what the hell you're doing. You tried something clearly different this year with Patricia calling the plays. That didn't work at all. Find yourself an actual offensive coordinator. Hell, bring in Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, that's true.
Do something.
That might work, yeah.
Do something.
Something, whatever.
Bring in Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, you could. But what you got now ain't working.
What you got now ain't working, good sir.
That's fair. At the Ring of Three, we have 2 Steeler players. I couldn't figure out what numbers they were because I only saw small clips of it on Twitter along with on YouTube, so apologies. I tried looking into it. But it was on the defensive side of the ball. They had gotten a big sack, and the guy that sacked him laid on the floor, pretended to be dead, while one of his other people came up and gave him CPR. Holy fucking shit, how out of touch are you? That is absolutely unacceptable. Especially for you guys. I mean, you guys are so close to Buffalo. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? What makes you think that's okay? It's been less than a week. What are you like, that's going to be fine city, and frankly, pretty egregious. That's absolutely not okay. Just isn't okay.
I 100% agree with you. I saw that, and I was like, oh my god. Look, I get that you could make the defense that it's a metaphor for resurrecting your season, but, my guys, with everything that's gone on,
not good timing. Not good timing, guys.
Nope. Guys, you got to stop that.
Yeah.
My last one is Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Aaron Rodgers. You threw the game away. Yes.
literally
threw the game away. You didn't play very well. You don't have what you used to have. You didn't have a 300-yard game all season this year.
No.
And now you're going to play that, oh, woe is me, I think I'll retire card. Sir, welcome to the third circle. If you come back, the Packers are going to look to trade you.
Potentially.
I honestly don't think they want you around anymore. I honestly think they're anxious to move on to Jordan Love. They're eager to see if Love can establish a relationship with Dobbs and Watson. And I think they're eager to become a run-first offense again, centered around, you've got a couple of backs back there. I don't remember their names, but they're big boys. And
isn't it one of them Dillon?
Yeah, AJ Dillon and somebody.
Dillon and, I forget what the other one is. Yeah.
Anyway, point is, they are looking monstrous. The old guard is on their way out, and that includes you. At this point, you have to be feeling that heat on your seat. You have got to be a little bit burning at this point, and you basically have 2 options. You either retire or you take a trade somewhere. I don't think they want you back in Green Bay. I'd be really surprised if they do. You would have to play an amazing hand of poker to go back to Green Bay at this point, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, with my last choice, I'm actually putting 3 players in this number 1, the hottest depths of fucking hell for you fucks. First,
okay. I'm gonna make a guess. You
well,
ready?
I'm gonna do them in order. I'm gonna do them in order as I see fit. But you probably already know the 3. Yes, they are the Green Bay Packer defensive players. So
the Packers.
Packers, yeah. Packers defensive team, yeah. The first one is number 90, Reed. You asshole. That's a defensive player, and you elbow him in the fucking face, and you don't get flagged for it? You should have been fucking ejected and suspended. That is awful. He was clearly a defensive player. What the fuck is wrong with you? You could have easily moved that arm out of the way. You had time to move, and you still elbowed him in the face. You went out of your way to do it. You are a disgrace. Fucking disgraceful.
Forearm shiver, yep.
Fucking totally disgraceful. Horrible. Then we're going to move on to 95 Wyatt. Sir, I don't give a fuck what you think you're doing. I don't care if you think you're defending one of your players because of what happened. You don't get in the face of a trainer and then a ref and think it's okay. And the fact you didn't also get ejected is mind-boggling. Fucking mind-boggling. It's not as bad as what Reed did. Get out of here. Stupid asshole. What the fuck's wrong with you? You don't fly on my face. Anyways,
Wyatt, I think he's mad that you're mad.
Wyatt, you don't do that. Like, it's not as bad as what Reed did because you didn't intentionally try to hurt a player, but you don't get in the face of a ref, and you definitely don't get in the face of a trainer. Really bad move. Really dumb idea. You probably should get fined. I don't know about suspension, but you probably should get fined. And then the worst, absolutely abysmal, Quay Walker, what the fuck are you thinking? It's the second time you push a trainer in the season, and you do it right after what happened with DeMar last week? Are you out of your fucking mind? You should absolutely be fined, and you should probably be suspended. Twice! You don't do that twice! You don't, and then you have the audacity to go down the fucking hallway crying as if you're a victim? Go fuck yourself, sir! I'm good now.
Fair. Alright, you feel better?
I do feel better now.
Okay, I'm glad you feel better after that. I don't disagree with any of that. I absolutely think that all three of those guys belong in the deepest circle of hell. I didn't bother to even throw them into hell. I straight up just told all three of them, hit the motherfucking showers.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are fucking done.
Oh, yeah.
Bye. Get out of here. That's absolutely... And look, I get that Quay feels some kind of way because the ref tried to, or the trainer tried to shove him out of the way.
Which, if
you're standing in the fucking way.
You're in the way. And on top of that, if you watch it back, the guy didn't even shove you. He just put his hand on you and slightly move you. He didn't even do it in a dick.
There's another guy on YouTube I watch all the time named Fat Electrician. Okay? Yeah. The Fat Electrician.
Okay.
And as he's pointed out, in the military, we have a saying, make a hole.
Yeah, make a hole.
And everybody gets out of your way.
Yeah.
They need that for the NFL for that situation. Make a hole, and everybody just is trained to move.
Yeah. It just didn't make sense. Like I said, he didn't even shove him. Like, if you see, he literally puts his hand on him and slightly nudges him just so he can say it's just the nice way of saying with your body going, hey, I need to get in here. Can you please move?
Yeah. If you are that much of a child. Yeah. That kind of thing makes you think you should shove another grown human being, especially a trainer. Yeah. You don't need to be playing football.
No. And on top of that, why are you standing around an injured player that's not one of your own? Why are you standing over him like that? Get the fuck out of the way.
I straight up here called it Bush League. It's absolute Bush League. It's mud show outlaw bullshit.
Yeah, you're trying to stand over him like, oh, you're injured. Fuck you, motherfucker. Like, no, get the fuck out of the way.
Exactly. You got anybody else for hit the showers?
No, all three of them. All three of those guys should be hit the showers.
All three of those guys, but I'm going to group them all together.
Yeah.
I got two more. Dak Prescott, motherfucker. I don't know what the fuck that was. Go hit the goddamn showers. That was abysmal.
Probably, I think it's legitimately, if you look back at his stats, it's probably his worst game he's ever played, or pretty close to, if it's not.
Has to be. And the last one, you know what? I had him on there, but I'm going to change it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to change my last one. Originally, Aaron Rodgers, you were going to be told to hit the showers, but you're not going to be told to hit the showers this time because I've already thrown you into the circles. So instead, I'm going to say, you know what? I can't remember the kid's name now. The Panthers QB.
Oh, Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Goddamn, man. Whatever the fuck that was. Just go hit the showers, dude. You need to cool off. That was shit.
That was pretty... Compared to what he's did previously, that was pretty abysmal, yeah. Were you seeing ghosts again, my sir?
I don't know what the fuck you were seeing at that point, but whoever you were throwing to wasn't your own team.
Heck, most of the time there wasn't anybody there.
Jesus Christ.
It was bad, man. It was bad.
My guy, you got it. No, done. Bye.
Ghosts. You're seeing ghosts.
You're seeing ghosts. Hey, all right. Do we want to do Vikings?
Sure, let's do Vikings Corner. Yeah, why not?
Let's do Vikings Corner. All right. Vikings. We are the mighty, mighty Vikings. Skol.
Dude, we should get we should get that sound effect every time we do the Vikings Corner so that we can play it every time.
Just a gobber horn. Just the gobber horn. Okay.
Time for the biased Vikings card.
Absolutely biased. Look, the Vikings are going to beat the Giants. Let's not even.
I'll be surprised. I think it'll be pretty close because the Giants are not a bad team.
No,
but
they're not, and I think it will be.
Also,
but
I think this is probably too bold of me to say, and frankly, very likely to get me in a lot of trouble with a lot of my friends. But in the past, we've seen teams that have not necessarily had the same type of style of team, but we've seen teams where they start to come together towards the back half of the season, or start to figure this shit out towards playoffs. I'm not saying the Vikings are all of a sudden going to come all together and they're going to play like the most fantastic team in the world. What I'm saying is definitely possible that all of a sudden they get rid of all their issues and manage to magically just have the run of their fucking life.
I will also say that because he did really super well last year, or not last year, last game that he played, week 17, Danny Dimes is due for a stinker.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he's going to toss it up against the Vikings.
Probably.
If you want my honest opinion.
And to be fair, we have a defense that actually is good at being able to pick off loose balls in the air like that. That's kind of the defense that we have.
Yep. So I would be
surprised if Peterson doesn't get another interception.
I would be surprised if Peterson doesn't get another.
He's probably been one of our better defensive players.
I mean, even at his age, yes, he totally has been.
Because hasn't he had like not quite a pick a game, but close?
Something like that.
I think he's done really well.
The point is, the Vikings have had a bunch of problems on defense, a bunch of problems on special teams recently. I think they can put it all aside. I think they're going to win that game. I don't know how deep they're going to go, but I definitely think they can beat the Giants.
Yeah, I think they can beat the Giants.
And if
what's likely to happen is that we're going to end up beating the Giants, and the odds are likely that we'll end up having to play the 49ers.
Yeah.
Because there's little ways that Seahawks beat the 49ers, and if Tampa beats the Cowboys, it doesn't matter which one, because both the Cowboys and the Tampa are the lowest seed. So they would end up.
They would be.
Whoever wins that game is going to play the Eagles. So we're basically going to play.
We're going to play the Niners.
Unless the Seahawks win, that's the only way that changes. So.
Yep. But I think we're going to wind up playing the Niners. I think that's going to be where our season ends, sadly.
Very, very possible, but you never know. Like I said, if everything comes together just right,
we'll see how the games go.
We have a team that can beat them.
We'll see how it all goes. I think it'll be interesting, if nothing else. Overall this year, though, definitely been a much better year than I would have thought.
It was a good season. I think KOC...
I still have to get the cake.
Yeah, I'm a little tapped out at the moment without a job at the moment.
So. No, that's fine. I will eventually get the cake and write, Kirk Cousins sucks on it, and I will eat it on camera.
Yeah.
That is something that I do plan to do.
But KOC has, for a first-year coach, he's definitely shown that he's got the chops. He's definitely the coach of the future at the moment, unless he all of a sudden has a major regress next season. So, I think he's definitely proven that he's one of the better coaches. And he definitely has done a good job of implementing a very positive locker room.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. Anything else?
No. Skull Vikings, we're going to win. Beat the Giants.
Skull Vikings. All right. Let's move into Hockey Corner. I have a rant.
Yeah, I just had one, so it's your turn.
I have a rant. This is a rant about awards and how they're given out. And not just how they're given out, how they're decided upon. And so you could apply this to the NHL, the NFL, the NBA, because most of them use this structure, and I think it's fucking dumb.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to talk about it. So in hockey, there are 2 awards that are given out specifically for stats. They are stat-tied. That would be the Maurice Rocket Richard Trophy, which is given out for the guy that scores the most goals every year, and the Jennings Trophy, which is given out to the goalie who allows the fewest goals.
That seems fair.
Those are stats related. Then there is there are 2 awards voted on by the general managers. They are the Gregory Trophy, which is given to the GM of the year, and the Vezina, which is the best goalie.
Okay.
Right. You. Then there's the Ted Lindsay Award. That is voted on by the NFLPA, or the NHLPA. It is voted on by the players and their representatives, and it's who they think is the best hockey player.
That seems kind
But
of
it is not considered the league MVP. Because the following awards, the Hart Trophy, which is the league MVP, the Norris, who's the best defenseman, the Calder, which is the best rookie, the Conn Smythe, which is the playoff MVP, the Jack Adams, which is the best coach, the King Clancy Award, which is given out for humanitarian efforts, the Lady Byng, which is for the most gentlemanly player, the Selke, which is the best defensive forward. All of those are voted on by the hockey media. Writers. They're not voted on by players.
No.
They're not voted on by anybody that matters, coaches, GMs, nobody. They're voted on by media personnel.
Yeah.
And which means 90% of these awards mean jack squat.
I'm pretty sure that's true for most awards, actually. Across
That's why I was
sports.
saying this is my rant about this, okay? Look, I don't want to know, because here's the problem with this. The Hart Trophy, every year, should go to Connor McDavid. Period. Unless he's injured and not playing. Connor McDavid is a goddamn cheat code at hockey, and he does shit on the ice that nobody else can fucking do. So the Hart Trophy goes to the best player that the media thinks is the best player that's not named Connor McDavid. Because they don't feel that he should win it every year, because it's not fair. Fuck that. Wayne Gretzky was given the most valuable player trophy a shitload of times because he was literally the most valuable player in hockey. Nobody is ever going to debate that. Connor McDavid should have that same level of recognition. People should know the name. It's the same thing. Sidney Crosby. Everybody knew the name Sidney Crosby. If you didn't follow hockey, you knew the name Sidney Crosby. So that's my thing. And then, so because the media are the people that decide this, stats matter less, stories matter more. I'll give you an example. Last year, who should have won the Coach of the Year award? You know what? I'm going to go out and say that every year the guy who should be up for it is the guy who coaches the Tampa Bay Lightning. I can't remember his name right now. You know why? You know why? Of the past 4 seasons, he's been to the Stanley Cup playoffs, or into the Stanley Cup finals game 4 times and won 2 of them. Back to back. That's a coach of the decade to me. But he gets overlooked because that's how they play every year. So the coach of the year is always the guy who takes a team that has been down in the dumps and turns them around and makes the playoffs with them. Because it's a better narrative. It's not always given to the best. It's given to the most media friendly.
Well, I don't know if I would say media friendly, but I would say that I would say that there is a different skill set for being able to bring up a shit team and make them look good. Like, I do understand the idea of, is it harder to make a shit team really good, or is it harder to maintain a really good team? And that's where the story is, right?
With the salary cap, I think it's harder to maintain a really good team, but that's also a GM's position.
Yeah.
But a coach has to deal with the shuffling lineup around him and continue to make playoffs with them.
So what I would argue is that there should be, in that case, there should be 2 different awards. You have the best coach of the year, and then you should have the best up-and-coming coach of the year, or best...
Or the best building coach.
Or the best... or maybe the most improved coach, or the most improved team with coach, right?
I can see that, like the most improved coach, or the most, the something
the coach
like
that most improved his team, or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yes. The problem is all of these are voted on though by the media.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I don't think the media should be involved in that. I think turn the heart over to the players. Let the players decide who they think is best. Turn the Vezina over to the players. Let the players, not the GMs, decide who they think is the best goalie. Who's been the hardest to score on this year? I think the players should be the ones voting on these awards. I think it should be the same for all sports. Because I think the players know more about it than the fucking media does.
What I'll say is I think that all 3 levels, media, general management, and media, or players, media, general management, all should have votes. I think they all, because they do all have a say. I think all of them should have equal amount of votes, and then they can all vote. And then that way it's actually going to be more fair, because the media then can have their say, or who they like. The players can choose who they like, and then the general management can choose what they like. And then
I'm
I'm
the
not
guy
saying
who gets
separate
the
awards.
most out of
Yeah.
all of that. No, that makes a lot of sense. The problem is we've given so much of the sports over to the media that they feel like they are gatekeepers now, and
Yes.
I don't like that, and that's my rant about that. Is that
It's kind of like the Heisman Trophy, right? The Heisman Trophy has come from being an actual award that means something to who's the most popular QB.
more or less, and one of the last guys who was a running back who got it, they took it away from him.
Yeah.
And they still haven't given it back.
No.
Even though they should.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, that's a whole other
That's a whole other thing.
bucket of worms.
But the point is
point is, yeah. So that's kind of my hockey rant about it, is that I think there's too much consolidation of the awards in the hands of the media. I think more people need to be voting on that. I think there's also no transparency in most of these votes, so most people don't know how anybody voted. But I feel like, you know, for the most part, I think having a select group of media and a select group of players and a select group of GMs that would vote every year would make the most sense, and have it rotate.
Yeah, have
so
it rotate
that way
so nobody has the same. Yeah.
So nobody has to do it more than one year. You can't accumulate power.
Yeah.
I
think that also. Gatekeep. I think, just as a side note, I think it would be fun for maybe one or two awards where the public can vote. Maybe something like who they think is like
that would be
the
fun.
most entertaining team, or maybe who they liked. I think that might be it's just another way to try to bring your audience in on it, so they don't feel, because there's a lot of people who don't pay attention to the awards or anything because they're like, well, I don't give a shit.
So next week I'm going to do another rant, but I'm going to look some stuff up because I want to rant about a particular person that I feel is ruining hockey.
Whew. That's a bold statement.
Oh, I don't think it's a bold statement at all.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about the commissioner of the NHL, Gary Bettman.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess you could also do you could do the same thing for Roger Goodell for the NFL. So that's fair.
Gary's way worse.
I'm not saying it's not.
I will tell you exactly why next week. But let's just say that at a certain point, the NBA was the fourth most popular league in America behind the NFL, the MLB, and the NHL. The NHL was poised to, in fact, overtake MLB and NFL as one of the most popular sports in America. And then Gary Bettman took over. And now it's a distant fourth. So we're going to rant about that. I'm going to talk about things that he's done. I think he's been in power way too long. And I don't think he's very popular. But we'll have a rant. I will talk about him next week.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yep. All right. Game balls, right?
Game balls.
Game balls.
You start.
You want me to start?
Yeah,
all right, fine. Fuck it. I'm going to start, and I'm going to cheat because I don't care. I get a birthday game ball. It was my birthday yesterday. I'm taking a birthday game ball. The motherfucking entire Lions team game ball.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You beat the Packers. Get fucked, Packers.
Get fucked, Packers. Game ball.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't disagree with that one. Let's see here. You know what? You had another good game, sir. Kenny Pickett. Have a game ball, my guy. You just continue to impress me. At first, I was very concerned when you came out and you had a couple of first real rough games for Pittsburgh, but you have continued to evolve and continue to get better. And I think you've convinced me that you are the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise QB going forward.
You know what? My next game ball goes to a quarterback who's been shit on by everybody all year.
Okay.
Russell Wilson, sir. Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Not Zach. Russell.
No, I know. I was making a joke. Go.
Russell Wilson, 13 of 24, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 fluky weird-ass interception, 8 rushes, 18 yards. Sir, game ball.
Fair enough.
You looked much more like the Russell Wilson they thought they were getting.
Fair enough. Game ball. Desmond Ridder, you had one of your best games.
You stole my last game.
You had one of the best games you've ever played in the NFL so far. 2 touchdowns. Your first one, I think, actually, in fact, was today, if I remember right. I could be wrong on that. But you definitely played really, really well, and you definitely deserve it. If you continue playing that way, you'll cement yourself as franchise QB.
You stole my game ball, motherfucker.
Hey, I'm pretty happy about it because I have him on my fantasy draft. He's great.
Oh, I absolutely understand that you're happy about it, but you stole my game ball.
All right.
Now I gotta go find another game ball.
There's plenty of players. I'm sure you'll find one.
Oh, probably.
I already know what my last one is if you want me to go.
Yeah, you go ahead while I try to figure out who my last one's going to go to.
My final one, sir, you had an amazing career. It's time, you decided to hang it up, but you ended on a good note. J.J. Watt, here's your game ball and your final game ball. Enjoy it.
I can go with that. That's what I can go with. That's not bad at all. Who should I give my last game ball
to? You could give it to Williams.
Nah, you know what?
Because he passed Barry Sanders' record. You could give it to Williams.
I know, but I already gave the whole Lions team a game ball.
That's fair.
You know what? I figured out my last game ball. Sir, in a winning effort and for fucking your team out of the first overall pick, Davis Mills, 23 of 38, 298 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, including that last Hail Mary touchdown that cost your team the first overall pick, and tried to secure your job and making it harder to get rid of you. Davis Mills, if that's your final game as a starting quarterback for the Texans, that's a hell of a fucking game, sir. Game ball. Good job sticking it to him on the way out.
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel bad for Davis Mills because I think he is actually a starting level caliber quarterback.
So too. I think so too.
But I think the Texans have just done him real fucking dirty.
You know where I'd like to see him go?
I would love to see him sit behind Kirk Cousins. I would absolutely love it.
I would love that, but no. I was thinking there's another team that could use him right now.
Right now? I mean, he would be better than Daniel Jones. I'd put him in place of Daniel Jones any day of the week.
I was thinking the other team in New York because I think he's way better than Zach Wilson.
So, that's fair. Yeah, I could do that too. I'd do that too.
I think the Panthers wouldn't be bad with him either.
Panthers, if Tom Brady leaves the Bucs, he'd be perfect with the Bucs,
There you go.
I think.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But no, Davis Mills, sir, game ball. I considered him anyway, and I was like, you know what? He had a really good game.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad for him because he might not end up being a starter anywhere, though. And that's the sad reality of it.
He should, though.
Yeah. Like, he for how bad that Texans team is, he's looked pretty good. I mean, yeah, they haven't won a lot of games, but frankly, if you look at those games, he's still somehow managing to put up good numbers. Like,
absolutely.
He's had a couple bad stinkers, of course, everybody does, but I think, frankly, he's been done dirty by.
I think he's way better than people think he is.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
All right. Anything else this week?
Trying to think if there's anything else going on this week. I think right now, actually yesterday was the college football championship. Who ended up winning that?
Oh, yeah. No, that wasn't even a game. That was practice for Georgia.
Was it that bad? Okay. TCU didn't even have a chance.
65-7.
I didn't watch it, so I wasn't sure because I was just
I didn't watch it either, but you could have turned it off in the first half and know who won.
Ouch. TCU got stomped then. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, raffle stomped. Absolutely raffle stomped. That was practice for Georgia.
Hey, you know what? Congrats to TCU for making it, though. Like, a lot of people had them completely checked out earlier, so... Yeah, they did well.
Absolutely. Congrats to making it that far. But, yeah, you got shown your place.
You got raffle stomped, yep.
You got raffle stomped, guys. Sorry. Congrats to Georgia for winning 2 national championships in a row.
Yeah, it's not really all that surprising. I mean, they're one of the big top guys, right? It's Georgia. It's either going to be Georgia, LSU, or Alabama. I guess Buckeyes could have been in there, too, or
Kentucky
Clemson.
At the beginning of the season was in there, and they kind of fell out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good college teams, don't get me wrong.
Michigan had a shot at it, too.
Oh, that's true. They did. They did, actually, for a while. No, I think that's pretty much the major stuff. We had the college football championship. I think we have 2 games on Saturday, right? And then
something like that.
And then I think 4 on Sunday and then 1 Monday. I think. No, because then it would be 2. So it'd be 2 Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then I think 1 on Monday.
Hold on.
Double check that. Either that or there's none on a Monday and they're doing 4 on Sunday. I thought there
Wild
was...
card 2 Saturday, January 14th.
Yep.
The Seahawks Niners, Chargers Jaguars.
Yep.
3 Sunday, January 15th. Giants Vikings, Bills Dolphins, Ravens Bengals, and 1 Monday, January 16th. Yep. Cowboys Buccaneers. Oof. That game on a Monday night. Yeah. That could be an absolute disaster.
I think the games I'm looking forward to the most is probably Jaguars Chargers, because I think that it's actually going to be a really close game because they're very similar teams. I think that's going to be a really good, fun game. I think I legitimately believe that Vikings Giants could actually be a good game, or it's going to be a complete blowout. But I think it could be a good game.
I'm looking forward to the Cowboys and Buccaneers just to watch that train wreck happen, because it's either going to be a really good game or it's going to be an absolute train wreck.
Oh, and then of course, I mean, I think Bengals and Ravens will be good if Lamar plays. If Lamar's cleared to play, that'll be a good game.
Yeah, we don't know, and the Bengals or the Ravens aren't actually saying. So
that's true. Now,
Lamar's kind of saying that he could play, and the Ravens are like, "Well, we haven't heard that."
Here's the thing: I think there's a pretty good chance he ends up playing because it would make no sense for him not to. If he can actually physically play, he should. Now,
I agree.
Now, if his doctors are like, no, you cannot play, then that's a different story.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's kind of how it's going, and I'm really looking forward to wildcard because, as you know, once you make postseason, it's basically a reset. You're in a whole new season. This is not the same season. It's a completely different.
Oh, absolutely.
So anything literally could happen.
Exactly.
So I'm very much looking forward to Super Wildcard.
Anything can happen and probably will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the season's already been crazy, so you never know. You never know what's going to... They're for all we know, Seahawks do end up beating the 49ers, which would be fucking wild. That would be
because if the Buccaneers beat the Cowboys and the Seahawks beat the Niners, I legitimately think we could beat the Buccaneers.
Yeah, exactly. So if the Seahawks manage to knock the 49ers out of contention, that actually makes the Vikings run a legitimate run in my book.
I agree.
Just saying.
Just saying. I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
but...
probably not, but it would be pretty interesting.
Alrighty. Well, this has been yet another sports podcast with your bearded brothers. I am again Matt.
I am Chris.
And this time we are out. We will see you all next week after the first round of the playoffs, and we will have plenty to talk about.
Probably Peace. More news. Have a good day.
Have a great New Year, guys.